What's up, guys? All right, so there seems to be this trend with certain people that don't do well with Suboxone. I've noticed it in the clinic. I've noticed it online with the comments I read, with people who send me emails and comment on articles I've written, etc. With their problems. There is a type of patient that Suboxone works really well for, and there's a type of patient that it doesn't work as well for. Now, even in those populations of patients, they vary dramatically. But there are some similarities that I found with people that Suboxone is not the best choice. And one is, have they ever been to rehab before? Have they ever actually tried to just stop opiates? Have they ever been in any type of recovery program before? And if the answer is no, they tend to not do as well. And there might be several factors that contribute to that. One being psychologically, they haven't been through how difficult it can be to go cold turkey and be in go through the withdrawal and then go through that post-acute withdrawal and then like trying to live your life for those months without relapsing. It's very difficult, when you don't have that medication assistance. And so I'm not minimizing that at all. I know it's difficult, but there seems to be something that people who've tried that, even if they've tried it and failed, it puts them at it seems to me at least, a higher ability to be successful in the future with medication assistance. And I think some of it probably has to do with just gratitude, that there is something that can help them through that period that they've already tried to do it on their own, and they saw exactly how tough it was. And that doesn't mean that medication assistance shouldn't be used for the first time. If somebody came to me and they've never tried it before and they've never been to first recovery, I still might use it, right? Because to me, the most important thing is that they don't relapse. And of course, with that, with any time you start a medication for medication assistance, you have to weigh the pros and cons, not only of the medicine, but of the other medical problems they might have, the other limiting factors in their lives, financially, their social structure, their support system, etc. You got to weigh it all together. You got to tie it in. You got to figure out how to make it work for that patient. But my point is, going through those difficult times seems to make people more successful when they do get on medication assistance. But it doesn't mean that you can't start medication assistance when the first time you decide to get help, right? The other thing is like very young people, and this kind of goes along with that first thing, but young people don't, right off the bat, just don't tend to do quite as well. And I think a lot of it is, when you're in your early 20s, you still have this very like grandiose idea, you feel invincible. A lot of that is still in that kind of party lifestyle. Now, some people in their early 20s are very mature for their age, especially people who have addiction oftentimes have gone through very traumatic events, and so they may have actually be very mature at a very young age, and for those folks it might be different with how they handle medication assistance. But like your typical like young college kid whose parents are fairly well off, and they'll just kind of that kid just doesn't have a lot of consequences in their lives other than just being chastised and thrown into another recovery program or whatever. So they get into trouble, well, their parents are going to get them out of it. They don't seem to do as well either with medication assistance, and truth be told, they just don't do as well in life in general because they don't have that kind of self-responsibility. They haven't learned that yet, and I'm not, this isn't get on to the parents or whatever. I understand this need to help your kids if you're able to help your kids, but there definitely has to be some accountability with young adults. They have to learn discipline, and that there's consequences to actions. If they don't learn that young, and preferably they need to learn that before they're young adults, because that's the problem, is they're not learning it when they're younger, and then when they become young adults, they're basically just not young adults, they're older babies, okay? And we need to figure out a way to shape our children better. So, not pointing fingers. I'll take all the parenting advice I can get to. So, another group of people that don't seem to do as well are just people who They aren't looking at recovery as an organic process, mind, body, spirit. They're just looking for a medicine, to keep them out of withdrawal. So this kind of person probably blames someone else for their own addiction. They probably blame the doctor for giving them, they would never have abused those pain pills if the doctor hadn't prescribed them. And so I always say, well, did the doctor prescribe you to take 10 a day? Well, no. But anyway, and maybe the doctor did. And I'm not again, minimizing the doctor's responsibility for responsible medicine. But your addiction is your responsibility, and you have to accept your root cause, your role, if you want to get better. So that's kind of like three groups of types of people that seem to not do as well. And I find that people who comment negatively are often in that group. There's also this subset, and they typically fall into one of those three groups, though, that they don't really go to the doctor, and it may not be their fault. Maybe they can't get into a program or whatever, but they take medicine off the street, and so they're never really that consistent. And they're typically not in a recovery program, and they blame their problems on Suboxone instead of on their addiction. And that's difficult to treat. It's difficult to get better when you have that kind of mindset. But again, I think these people can be helped, and I think sometimes it just takes a little bit of getting into their history, the details, and putting them on a trajectory of improvement. Not everybody who comes to see me the first time is going to be extremely successful right off the bat, right? But it takes that visit. It takes us trying to come up with a plan, and then the next visit we build on that, and the next visit we build on that. And so I build these relationships with my patients so that I can help them along this trajectory. I'm not like some self-help guy or life coach or any of that baloney, but like an actual doctor helping them, guide them in their health to healthier choices. And then they have to make good decisions, and they have to continue to build on each step. So, all right, guys, Dr. Chris Park, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments about addiction, please let me know. Peace.